This is the World on Water Sailing News, September 25, 2020. Here are the highlights for the sport of sailing globally in the last 7 days. Both America's Cup teams were out on the water in Auckland again this week. Careful, don't get too close, otherwise protests. Now for what is in this week's show. Emirates Team New Zealand give a preview of things to come. The top 3 winners in La Solitude du Figaro are back home from their first big Figaro 3 race. At last, the Formula Kite Mixed Team European Championships Day 2. The final report on the recent Defi Azimut Imoca 60 regatta. Next is the Vendée Globe on November 8th, so be watching for our English language reports. For the enthusiast, we have tuning tips from the top. Day 5 finals of the Kite Teams Championships. Our resident armchair critics of the America's Cup, Vittorio Del Bertas and Pietro Pinucci, chat about the boats.
Pretty epic day today. It was the first time there's been 2 AC75s out on the wider meadow. American Magic's been here for a little while now, but have our boat out at the same time as them. Pretty cool day, and pretty cool to see 2 boats out there duking it out where the Cup will be in a few months' time.
I guess it gets the competitive juices flowing a bit more, and you just get excited about what's to come, and a bit of a distance away from us, but just to see it out there falling around, and definitely gets you making a bit more of an effort in every snap or tack and job you do. So definitely exciting, and looking forward to actually getting to race them at some point.
Now it definitely steps up the intensity a little bit here, and there'll be some pretty exciting times over the next few months, seeing what steps each design team's taken, when they launch their boat twos and when they put on new foils. So pretty exciting time.
On m'aurait dit ça il y a 24 heures hier soir. Franchement, j'aurais pas mis ma main à couper que j'allais gagner l'étape. Enfin, c'est une étape de dingo quoi. On est passé partout. C'était vraiment compliqué, il y avait vraiment beaucoup de changements de leader. Mais le classement de 4 heures, putain, j'ai exulté de joie parce que je me dis, putain, normalement, je l'attendais avec impatience celui-là.
Merci les chouchous.
Fin de journée, j'ai grignoté une zone interdite. Donc je sais que déjà, dès le premier après-midi, je savais que j'avais une pénalité. Donc j'étais un peu au fond du trou. Mais j'ai rien lâché et je me suis donné toute la nuit et toute la journée du lendemain. Et 24 heures après le départ, j'étais sur le podium. Donc ça, j'étais vraiment content de moi de ne pas avoir lâché.
J'ai rêvé de victoire, j'ai rêvé de défaite aussi pendant cette étape. Il y a eu des hauts et des bas. Puis je pense aux copains qui étaient pour certains très bien placés et donc qui seront forcément déçus à l'arrivée. C'est vrai qu'il y a eu cette option ce matin qui a un petit peu tout décidé. Mais je suis content de finir sur cette bonne note là, sur cette étape parce que ça a été un grand voyage, quasiment un demi-tour de France le long des côtes et je me suis régalé quand on a une chance incroyable de faire ce sport qui est un sport vraiment de liberté dans un espace naturel qui est grandiose.
C'était 5 jours. Ah ouais, fatigué, ouais, fatigant. Je savais pas qu'on a fait 5 jours là. Tellement c'était long, mais non, c'était content d'être arrivé.
It's a very intense format of sailing, I would say. They're reaching some pretty cool speeds, very fast. One lap around the course is about 2 minutes, and then they're doing a changeover between a guy and a girl in the middle of that, and then the next one does a lap. So yeah, it's quite a cool format actually. It's the first time I've seen it. We've been working pretty hard on our changeovers and trying to focus a lot on that, and also just the strategies around the course. Being a 2-minute race, there's not a lot of passing opportunity, so yeah, it's pretty important your position and where you're positioning yourself and your kite and your board.
Pretty hard to get the timing right because you've got somebody coming at you at 30-35 knots and then you're coming the other way at 20 knots, so you've got to try and get the timing right. So yeah, definitely big opportunities there, and it's really exciting.
I think we're just kind of taking every day as it comes. We're just going to go into it the same as today, just kind of, you've got to have confidence in yourself and in your partner, and I have confidence in Guy, and I think we'll just keep doing what we're doing as it seems to be working at the moment, and fingers crossed it'll all go well.
Bienvenue au large de l'Orient pour ce 10e défi Azimut qui démarre cet après-midi.
On a des bateaux qui viennent un peu des quatre coins de la France, donc c'est un très bel événement qui permet de naviguer et en solitaire et en équipage et se confronter sur plusieurs situations. On va avoir les runs de vitesse, donc ça va vraiment être le bateau le plus rapide sur une distance prédéfinie. On va avoir un tour de groix en équipage et le parcours de 48 heures en solitaire. Donc le plateau est très bien garni et va falloir se battre, ouais, clairement.
C'est un rendez-vous auquel on tient beaucoup. Parce que le format est sympa et puis aussi parce que ça a été monté par des personnes sympas, professionnelles, attachantes et qui se sont beaucoup investis dès le début pour croire dans ce format-là, qui était une vraie création. Et ça réunit vraiment tous les ingrédients pour faire un bel événement, toujours très proche du départ de la grande épreuve de l'année.
On a une journée qui nous permet d'embarquer à bord les personnes importantes qui tournent autour de notre projet, les partenaires, nos équipes, mais aussi beaucoup d'intervenants. Donc c'est un vrai moment de partage. Et puis à côté de ça, on a aussi une belle épreuve sportive. Voilà, ça va être une belle fête de la voile.
Grand-chose, les bateaux sont très proches, ils ont quasiment la même vitesse. Donc ça va jouer sur une risée, je pense.
Arrivée de Charal, top!
C'était sympa, j'étais bien sur mon charal et puis ça se finit bien, donc voilà. T'es heureux, c'est tout ça? Ouais, je suis heureux. Demain on a un super tour de l'île de Groix qui nous attend. Les runs c'était aussi extra il y a 3 jours là, donc voilà, c'est une super manifestation et donc voilà, ceux qui sont pas là ont tort.
Le défi, on a le sentiment qu'il est là, qu'il a trouvé sa place. C'est l'envie, l'engagement de tous les skippers, de tous les teams, de tous les partenaires. Tout le monde se l'approprie. Il y a aussi beaucoup de générosité, beaucoup d'idées. Donc on a une machine à idées finalement. Il faut juste qu'on ne fasse pas tout en même temps, donc qu'on pose bien, après cette 10e édition, qu'on garde les grands plus et puis il y a des petites corrections à faire comme chaque année. Donc dès 2021, IMOCA Globe Series, ça veut dire qu'on est dans la cour des grands. Hein. Les skippers vont marquer des points sur notre épreuve, au même titre qu'au Vendée Globe, à Route du Rhum, à Jacques Vabre. Évidemment, ça va faire monter le niveau, donc on va accueillir des skippers un peu du monde entier finalement, et on va être vu, ça c'est clair.
They've designed this thing with such a huge range with the tow pro mast and the sail that basically the vang in the Kano seems to just take you through such a huge range.
It seems to be a big crossover from when it's vang, like almost vang sheeting or main sheet sheeting downwind, and that seems to make a big difference to boat speed, but really getting the Kano off downwind seems good. And then I guess maybe when it's a bit breezier, possibly been letting a bit too much control lines off, but found that the sail likes a lot more vang than I thought originally upwind, but I have found the limit of that. And then the Kano just works as your power control once you get to that sort of max vang stage. So it's a really simple sail to use. I've been running a much shorter prodder and side arms than most people just because I'm so small, and that's kind of helped me get through the range. But I think when it gets over about 12-13 knots, to be honest, all I need is body weight, not anything else.
Sail's quite versatile. I use, I think I can get away with using it in the light all the way up the range, even with a fairly soft mast. I think a stiffer tip would probably help, just get a little bit more depth in the top when it's lighter to get foiling. Control wise, I'm a tiny bit of vang on and no Kano on just to get on the foil, and that's also my downwind setting in quite light winds, and then upwind I'm pulling almost to a specific point in anything up to about 10 to 12 knots on the vang, and just using very little Kano, and then a tiny bit more vang as the breeze goes sort of up to sort of 15 and over.
Super happy with the sail, very easy to use, always feels free, and yeah, great product.
What's up everybody, here we are in the TRAUNSEE. It's super windy and super sunny. Let's go, have the best luck on the water. May the best one win.
It was great to race with,
three of my good mates around the race course, and then it was great to watch Ellie bring it home as well. So yeah, it was amazing way to finish a week.
It's been really cool. As Connor said, everyone's so good that to even get through to the finals is a massive achievement, I think.
AC75 side by side. Despite of the rules of coronavirus, the two teams, Emirates in New Zealand and American Magic, some days ago just trained in the same water spot, in the same spot, which actually is one of the one of the race fields and one of the favorite probably race fields. They didn't actually do a combined train, organized train, but they crossed some tracks. They could probably see the differences in velocity, in speed, and in maneuvers between them.
We could in some way evaluate Richard Harbour. Actually, he is in charge of, let's say, to look at the boats around Auckland. His evaluation is that the speed was looking very similar in one boat and the other. Obviously, everybody is hiding any possible advantage and also any possible weakness. No?
Exactly. They surely will try probably to do their best without letting the other see to seem very fast, and at the opposite probably slow down a little bit if they seem too fast. No.
As far as maneuvering, both of the teams look very trained.
Yes.
The water was flat, it was about 8 knots in the beginning, and then it went up probably to 10 or maybe a little more in the end of the training. Team New Zealand was showing a smaller jib in the beginning, while American Magic was having probably Code 1 or Code 2, something like this. And then American Magic changed to an even smaller one than Team New Zealand. So actually they did not compare the same size of sails. We remind that the shape is for sure changing, but mainly changes the dimension itself of the jib.
Exactly. So you don't have, let's say, a light jib and medium jib with the same area, just with different shape, but every jib is smaller than the previous. No? So everyone has a big head, so shorter lap than the maximum possible, but with a big head. And then the smaller the jib is, the shorter the lap, and also the shorter the LP.
Exactly. Team New Zealand is working with wider square tops, while American Magic is for more traditional, let's say, shape of the jib. But there is something that you can easily notice in the foils. Looks like they have a kind of final shape, no? So everybody went for a very wide foil with a thin profile.
Exactly, and a small bulb in the middle also.
Also Team New Zealand,
which was not having this at the beginning, has switched to a small bulb in the middle, and then
we remind that this is because of the rules.
Exactly.
Also for sure from fluidodynamic point of view, but also because the rules say that you can change what
only 10 or 20% of the weight
of the part. So if you have a heavy bulb in the middle, then you can change the remaining part of the profile.
Exactly.
So it's much easier to try new things. While with a no bulb, then you cannot actually change a part. Then if you don't find it fast, then
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Also, if you want, for example, to change configuration, so probably you have one regatta, one event which is probably with lighter air, you want wider foils, and then you expect higher winds in another event, so you can use the same foil, just change it and make it smaller without, and change it quite a bit without having to account for a new set of foils, which at this moment I think they are a little bit short of
running out of tents.
Exactly.
Say they have a limited number they can produce, so they're kind of running out of the number of choices. Also, another possibility is to change the shape of the foil. So we see the Americans, they have a Y-shaped foil, while the New Zealanders, they have a
T-shaped
foils.
For how the rules are made, for a Y-shaped foil, actually you can have a longer span because you can have a longer span because you start from higher. And if you have T-foils, you can have only a 2-meter span, and that's it. So for sure, the American Magic foils are a little bit longer than the Team New Zealand one, but obviously the projected area is very similar, if not exactly the same. So what is the difference between the two choices? A T-foil has the advantage of starting from a lower point. So actually you can use the arm wider without having the foil too high, let's say, on the water, or with the boat higher on the water, let's say. While if you have a Y-shaped foil, your point of attach of the foil is higher, so you need the boat to be a little bit lower. Or you cannot open the arm,
raise the arm as far as the other boat. Another thing that has to be said is that in a Y-shaped foil, the two wings of the foil can perform a different work.
Exactly. So if you are able, let's say, to put one foil horizontal when the arm is down and the other a little bit inclined, the horizontal one, since you can move the two flaps in different way, the horizontal one is actually only controlling the up and down part of the trim of the boat. So you have one foil which is controlling the trim of the boat, and the other
height of the flight,
exactly,
for itself, and the boat.
And the other one is controlling both the height and the leeway.
Is the only responsible of the leeway tendency.
Exactly. So it's probably a little bit easier to maneuver with this kind of configuration because on a T-foil, both of the foils are actually controlling both height and leeway of the boat. So it is different. We have to say that all these foils are controlled by software. So it's not said that it's easier for the flight controller with a Y foil, but probably it's easier for the software developer of a Y foil than one from a T foil. Anyway, this can be that probably the American Magic is a little bit easier to maneuver in terms of flight height.
That said, I mean, we are all waiting for boat number 2. We know that American Magic boat called Patriot has already come to Auckland. It is parked close to the other boat, so it is still hidden, but you can see there have been quite a bit of changes. Thinner stern for sure. So again, big work on aerodynamics by the team for sure. It's gonna be fun to take a look to these new boats. Probably Prada's airship. It's boat number 2, while the boat number 1 is going via cargo.
Cargo, exactly.
So maybe arrive at the same time, we don't know. And Britannia team, they are trying to ship, they have already shipped the boat number 2.
Exactly.
So we are looking forward to see this new designs.
Exactly. The latest boat we will see is probably the Kiwi one, the New Zealanders, because obviously they will hide it until the last minute because they don't have to ship it anywhere. So they have, in this sense, they have a little bit more room to change probably last thing, seeing the changes the other teams are making on their boats.
Exactly. They already made a mistake when they first launched their first boat and they missed the bulb thing on the foils, so they probably will wait this time. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Ciao, ciao.